kids, welcome back. I'm going to be reading chapter 3 in our Little Legends, The Spell Thief, and I'm going to get started right away. Here we go. Web of Distrust. Once everyone had climbed down, Rapunzel wrapped her hair around a tree trunk and swung down the path in seconds. With a quick shake of her head, her hair released the trunk and tied itself to a neat braid behind her. "Your hair is amazing," said Red. "I know," replied Rapunzel with a grin. Staying out of sight, the 5 friends followed the mysterious boy as he darted through the woods towards Tailtown. "He's so fast!" exclaimed Red. "He's not that fast," muttered Jack, although he was starting to feel a little tired out. Before long, everyone else had fallen behind, and it was just Jack and Red chasing in the distant figure. Suddenly, the boy shot upward into the leaves of an overhead tree. "Hey!" said Red, skidding to a halt. "Where'd he go?" "I don't know," whispered Jack, his heart pounding in his ears. A twig snapped, and the 2 friends spun around. There was the boy they'd been chasing. He was leaning against a tree behind them, twiddling a leaf between his fingers. "So," said the boy, a confident smile flashing across his face, "I was just wondering, why are you following me?" Well, we were, I mean," Red looked over to Jack for help. Jack narrowed his eyes. "Why were you sneaking off that boat?" he asked. "Good question," exclaimed the boy. "Maybe I'm a stowaway. Or it could be that I'm visiting Prince from a distant land, sent here to buy your town. Or perhaps I'm just staying here on vacation with my uncle. You can decide which." At that moment, Rapunzel, Hansel, and Gretel burst into the clearing, puffing and panting. "What?" exclaimed Rapunzel. "Who?" began Hansel. "We don't know," said Jack. "That's exactly the point. Who are you?" "Oh, that's easy," replied the boy. "I'm me, of course, which means that you must be you. And these people here," he pointed Red, Rapunzel, and the twins, "must be them. So now that we're all friends, how about you show me the quickest way into town?" Red and Rapunzel smiled, but Jack was still sternly looking at the boy. "Come on, Jack," said Red. "Give him a chance." She turned to face the stranger. "I'm Red. This is Rapunzel. The twins are Hansel and Gretel. And our grumpy friend here is Jack." Jack sighed. There was something about this boy that made him feel uneasy, but he didn't want to upset Red. He looked at his feet, lifted up one hand, and muttered, "All right." "Well, seeing as we're doing things properly," said the boy, "my name's Anansi. I come from far, far away, and I'm staying here with my uncle for vacation. Nice to meet you, all of you," he added with a grin, looking at Jack straight in the eye. "Nice to meet you too," said Red. "So, how did you manage to climb that tree so fast?" Anansi grinned. "With a little help from my friends." He raised his arms and made a funny clicking noise in the back of his throat. 2 branches above, on delicate lines of spider silk. Anansi grabbed a hold of the narrow threads and with a flick of his wrists was sent up flying into the treetops. It's pretty amazing. "Whoa now," said Hansel. "That was cool," finished Gretel. Jack nodded to himself. It was pretty cool. He peered up into the leaves and was surprised to see a small imp straddling a branch. Imps didn't usually venture this close to Tailtown. They lived out in the dark, gloomy forests a few miles to the west. They weren't evil, but could often be mean-spirited and untrustworthy. Jack was about to point to the imp out to the others when he saw that Anansi was on the same branch and was saying something to it. Jack squinted more closely. Anansi nodded his head, and the imp leaped away. Its tiny body scampered easily over to the narrowing branches. Did anyone else see that? Exclaimed Jack, looking around at his friends, but nobody was listening. They were all staring up at it as Anansi lowered himself from the branches. He was hanging down from one almost invisible thread. Is that magic? Well, Anansi laughed, a warm, friendly laugh. I don't think so. I've always been able to do it. But just to like me. He made the same noise back in the back of his throat again, and the clearing filled with all sorts of spiders that scuttled toward him. Wow, murmured Red. Wait a minute, said Jack. Seriously, did no one else just see what happened? Yeah, said Red. Pretty cool, huh? No, said Jack. I'm not talking about your new best friend's spider tricks. I'm talking about him having a cozy little chat with an imp up there in the treetops. What? Asked Red, her eyes wide. Jack nodded. An imp? Asked Anansi. Where? I've never seen one before. Don't play tricks with me, said Jack. I saw you up there. All the way up there? Asked Anansi. Through those branches, all those branches and all those leaves. You've got good eyesight, Jack. I know what I saw, replied Jack. I'm sure you think you do, said Anansi. But we all make mistakes. Let me introduce you to your imp. He made a soft clicking noise, and a large, friendly-looking spider crept down the branch of a tree. It was the same blue-gray color as the imp, and almost the same exact size. I did not see that spider up there, insisted Jack. It was an imp. Oh, come on, Jack, said Rapunzel friendly. What would an imp be doing here anyway? Unless it could smell your socks, which I know it can. Everybody laughed, apart from Jack. So, do you want us to show you around? Asked Rapunzel brightly. My dad's kind of like the king here, so 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 27 seconds, interrupted Hansel and Gretel, both grinning. What are you talking about? Asked Red. That's how long since Rapunzel last mentioned that her dad is king, explained the twins. Rapunzel shot the two of them a very fierce look. I only mentioned it so Anansi knows that nothing's off limits, she protested. Of course you did, Rapunzel, said Red. Now remind me, which prince was staying at your house last week, and how many horses did he give you? Oh, get lost, exploded Rapunzel, as Red, Hansel, and Gretel burst out laughing. Well, I don't have any horses, interrupted Anansi. There we go. And my dad's not a king. He's a miner. But I would still like a tour of your town after I met up with my uncle. Hey, Jack, said Red. Your dad's a miner too, isn't he? Yeah, muttered Jack, but I wish he wasn't. Red turned back to Anansi. We'll be in Market Square. Meet you there later? Okay, said Anansi. Although I've got no idea where Market Square is. Red laughed. Come on, I'll point it out on the way. There was lots of excited chatter, and everyone headed off into town. Everyone except for Jack. Aren't you coming too, Jack? Asked Red. No, I'd better find Betsy, said Jack. I promised her I wouldn't be long. Okay, we'll see you later then, said Red. Jack watched as his friends walked off into the distance. I don't trust that boy, he muttered quietly. He knew that he was right, but Red and the others hadn't seen the imp. How were they going to know that Anansi was lying? And how could he make them see the truth? Friends, that is the end of our chapter. Do you think it happened? Or was Jack seeing things? How are his friends going to find out if it is the truth? Check back tomorrow for chapter 4. Have a good day. Bye.